go. I see the little live button.
All right. Good morning, Sean. All right.
Good morning, Dave.
Great. Happy Friday.
Facebook Friday.
So much to do. I'm trying to sit still.
well, I mean, you know how we always like to start this off, right? So it's an attitude of gratitude, and we start off with this whole, it's wonderful to see you, how much I enjoy Facebook Friday. And as some people know, I was down under weather for a couple of 3 weeks, and now it's resurfaced and back in the office, which is fabulous. It's all opened up. It's light and bright, excited, and a new change. And so someone asked me, like, why are you doing this? I said, you should see what my partner's been doing. She's a tornado, actually. Like all these things I'm going crazy. I'm like, this girl is on turbo speed. So I'm excited because shows always brought to you. You know, this is all about what produced by Heyler and our efforts. And you've got a couple of great properties under contract and a lot of it just seems like maybe there's a nice shift to positive light right now. And maybe that's just because I feel like, ooh, that darkness and sickness is behind me. So what happened?
Probably. But also I'm hopeful because the vaccine is out this week. And I really believe in science. I am a, chemical engineer major by trade. And I totally believe in the sciences. I believe in these mathematicians and scientists who are far smarter and brighter than 99% of the population and what they've researched, and I have faith that this is really going to impact us in a very positive way, and hopefully all of this dim and grim can be behind us. I hope. I really hope. I'm so hopeful.
Listen, light it's always darkest before the dawn. You just deal with that. And we know that it is dark relative to the scope of things. We have close friends, as we've interviewed Dr. Morocco here before. I have other friends that work in the respiratory units up at UCLA and St. John's, and they're all there. I personally experienced it. We have other people we know who personally experienced it. And then actually, you didn't even mention this, but your sister, who's a chemical pharmacist, who works on the front lines, and she was with the beginning of this vaccine as it came out and was enrolled. So you have a lot of firsthand information. I would tell you this. It's clear that it's ridiculously infectious, but doing nothing at all, other than if you isolate completely, is really just allowing it to do its thing. And I agree with you. I think right now is the time to trust science and move forward and see the light. That's the way I'm looking at it, like you.
Well, speaking of moving forward, I am so excited to talk to the owners of Tuscan. They have been a light and bright, shining, constantly changing, shifting, evolving through all of the changes that have been thrown their way. But they have been a local favorite for definitely for our family ever since they opened up a couple years ago. And just great addictive baked goods and healthy options too. So we're going to bring in Cyrus and Massimo from Tuscan and say hello to them this morning. Good. Oh, look how festive. They look fabulous.
Holiday appropriate. Oh, darn it.
Yes, and so cleaned up. They don't look quarantined at all. It was fabulous. They're all groomed.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Can you guys hear us?
Yes. Can you hear us?
Okay, great. Yes, great. Fabulous. You guys look great. So how has everything been going? We're dying to know how, this latest shift, this order, what's happening from the city. I mean, it is so much we're wondering what's happening.
Actually, let me give a little bit to the viewership and that they recognize Tuscan Sun, where the restaurant is located, and that it has become actually a destination. It is this really brilliant, and boy, did you guys pivot so intelligently relative to how to work with outdoor space and where you're located over there on essentially the corner of Overland and Santa Monica Boulevard across from the Big Mormon Temple. But it's like a bastion. When you drive down Santa Monica Boulevard, actually my eyes are no longer drawn to the tower across the street. I'm always drawn to look at the beehive of activity that's happening over at Tuscan. So you guys, congratulations on that, because that's legitimate.
Thank you. That's a lot to compete with, the temple. Yeah.
It's a big monument. Wow. Well, I mean, let's get a little background. You guys brought this restaurant forward. And has it been about 4 years? Is that right? Or am I giving you too much time?
Just 3 years.
Yeah,
3 years.
Yeah.
3 years. Okay.
Yep.
3 years. And open it up in a location where was like a banh mi place or something there, wasn't there, Jay? Was there some food there before?
It was the Brews Waffle House, their second location.
Okay.
Yeah, remember the Waffle House they had in Santa Monica, and they had some really, I mean, seriously, they had some good food too. I was bummed.
Well, you traded it out, right? Like one door opens and closes, another one opens up.
Absolutely. To the nicest people on the planet, truly. I mean, talk about neighborhood advocates, involved with the community. They're completely our peoples in the sense that they're involved with the Westwood Charter, involved at Emerson Community Charter, giving back to the community. They participated in Pick Pico. They really got themselves out there with their meatballs and their specials, and always friendly atmosphere, and just a homey place we could go, kind of like our own local little Cheers, where you can just go and always run into somebody I know, and it's always delicious and pleasing to the eye as well as to the palate. So it's what's wrong with that?
Well, no, there's nothing wrong with it. It's a great community ad. So what brought you guys to open up that restaurant, that food fair in that location? How did that come about?
First of all, I want to say thank you so much for those compliments, because that was our goal with that location, and connecting with the community. And both of us have lived in the community like for years. We've known each other like 20 years. Yeah. Like we've been friends, like family.
Wow, good for you.
Daniela and her mom for many years, and we started off that way. And I've always been a fan of Massimo's and his restaurant, in Beverly Hills. So, and it just kind of, our friendship led to talking about working together. And I was working more in design and other things and sales, and with his background of fine dining,
Yeah, we were looking for a partner, and you just communicate, you talk with people, and with Cyrus we're very close, and it kind of came like organically, naturally, that we were doing this together. And we were looking for a space for a while, and one of the main parameters was to be in the neighbor, to find the location in the neighbor. So eventually we found that place that was for sale, and we worked really hard at it, and we were able to get it, open it, and here we are 3 years later. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
And you guys are just picking up steam too. Like, it was the place to go, and then the pandemic hit. And talk about the shifts and movements you guys have had to do this year. It's unbelievable.
At the moment we started to be established in the area, it takes time, especially in restaurant business.
Sure.
You have to prove yourself a little bit. But we started to really increase also our business with caterings for office. And then the pandemic hits. And so you can only imagine right now, there is no office lunches. There is no that kind of catering.
Right.
Yeah, we had to adjust pretty much on a dime on our concept a little bit. And for me personally, coming from fine dining, this has been like a great path, because I can use everything that I learned there, how to make good food and how to present a certain way and all that, and still be able to sell at an accessible price point in a good atmosphere, more casual, more homey, And
I would say
check.
I'd also like to compliment that, because you really identified the community. You've made it family oriented. You've made it warm. You've made it accessible, and yet it still brings that element of high quality. When I think of Italian food and Italian cuisine, there are a lot of places that do it very sloppily. And quite frankly, in this general community, you'd have to go a little farther east into Beverly Hills, perhaps, to find quality Italian, maybe go to Brentwood. But yes. Westwood, I'd kind of spin my fingers looking at Westwood, and where am I going to get quality Italian food that's not heavy red dressing or sauce or gravy or what have you? So identifying that, and then, Italian food, if I may, that's the food of comfort. To me, that is just like, oh, it speaks to holidays. It speaks to warmth. If I want to get energy, if I want to just have that long meal. So thank you for bringing that quality. And then also, if I may, thank you for bringing life to an area that didn't have much life. Like, you really have started to open up, and it's an actual focus point for people to understand, especially the way you guys charmed it up at night with all the lighting on the outdoors. I hope that never goes away. I hope you get to keep all of it. I really do.
Yeah.
Same. Yeah. We were able to take advantage of and participate with the city's alfresco dining program.
Yeah.
Really opened it up to outside dining, and we had tables up and down the sidewalk, and a great tent for people to sit under, and heaters, and actually, even before that, all throughout the summer, we had just great. So many people out there, like really
even more seating than inside, actually, because of this shift.
And we had tables socially distanced, so it was great. So we're looking forward to getting back to that eventually. We've been so supported by the community.
Yes, very much.
A lot of loyal
customers
coming in, doing takeout, doing delivery, getting bakery items. As we have an incredible bakery. Son. So we've been doing a lot of holiday orders like that, and we even have a holiday menu for like a 5-course menu this one like feeds 2 to 3, so it's gathering. So that's just another way to kind of address the times and still feed people. People need to eat and want to eat, and want Massimo's food. So something we're doing right now also.
Oh, that's great. Tell us a little bit about that special. It's a 5-course menu.
Yeah, 5 courses. It's going to feed like 2 to 3 people, and it's delicious. You can see it on our website. It's TuscanSunLA.com, and we've been getting a lot of orders for Christmas Eve and New Year's Day, and just even people getting together. We're just wrapping up our Hanukkah menu, which was really big. So
I'm sorry I missed that. That would have been something really great. An Italian Hanukkah meal. That would be something I'd love to try.
Yeah, it was.
Oh my God.
The Hanukkah menu, but Tuscan style. We had latkes, truffle infused latkes.
That's it. You don't have to say anything more.
Just say that. But it was good. People loved it.
Wow. I just started salivating, and I just had breakfast, and I'm like all hungry again.
One of my favorite things that I saw on your Instagram, and this was probably like a year and a half ago, when you were showing off your baked goods, you were in the kitchen, you're making those little Italian crescent rolls and the croissants. Sorry, what are they called? The Italian croissants? They were, and literally by 9 a.m. they're gone, but you're back there and you had the video of how you make them, and it's just meticulous, every single one. And it made me want to come in and get it. And I remember a couple mornings you were completely out because I was too late. The batches were gone, but you really got to get in there first thing to get those. So it's so amazing.
With all the changes that you guys have had to go through, right? All the COVID protocols, the indoor outing, the stay at home, and open and close and close and open. And obviously it's a lot of immediate reaction. Have you felt notable changes in the business, or you've been able to, through all this industriousness, all the creativity, manage to keep you guys moving forward in a healthy manner, would you say? Relatively healthy manner, by the way, because your industry has to be amongst the most impacted by all of COVID protocols, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was challenging, and our goal was to keep our staff employed, to keep the restaurant open. We have employees who live in the community and have families. So, it was really, we had to pivot and, you know, and change our hours and some of our staffing.
You know, it's a little bit, I think it comes down a little bit to pragmatism of like when something happens, instead of, you know, sadly, instead of being such emotionally, you know, reactive to it, you're like, okay, this is happening. What can we do now? Literally, the moment the city said, from tomorrow you guys are closed in March at night, I was thinking like, how can we do this? Because I just know as a business, the moment you close your door, people forget about you. The moment you close your door for a week, 2 weeks, a month for something, it takes a lot of time to get back on track. And so thinking about our employees, you know, they're gonna miss work, they're gonna miss their paycheck. You know, I don't want to think about that. I don't want to think about the restaurant. I would also, the community, people have to eat. And already stories on the news, people couldn't get food at the market. They couldn't get supplies because the shelves were barren. So that's how we, you know, every time there was something, actually, I'll tell you a funny story. When the city put out the alfresco dining program, my son Alex, who is like 13, was 13 then, he saw it on TV. He went on the computer. In a matter of an hour, he already did the application. We were one of the city to have the application going for the alfresco dining program. Like,
that kid is smart.
It's a family business.
But Massimo, that speaks to so many different things, and I'd like to comment on that for a minute. First of all, it shows, because your alfresco, I've referenced it several times, it's so legitimate. So people in the audience, as time and as things will permit, treat yourself to that experience. You get a little bit of that European flair in the city of LA, which is something that I felt like Los Angeles has missed forever. The outdoor, we live into this incredible light and weather, right?
We do have the weather for it, you know.
Yes, we have the weather for it. I mean, it's better than New York City today. I mean, that's for sure. And then the other thing is, kudos, just kind of to acknowledge that the life lessons that you have been able to pass through to your son were translated immediately. And I think you offer every viewer here a real wisdom, a real golden nugget of wisdom, which is like, look, it's happened. That moment's passed, and it's what you do forward that's going to matter here. And it's up to us to be creative and dynamic and make that effort. But to your point, not to sit there and mope and just turn on 10,000 viewings of Netflix and just blah 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 blah. Get up and pivot and change and find the shift and do things you haven't done and move it around. And just thank you for saying that, because clearly it's working for you guys.
Yeah, it's working. We did put a lot of work in it. It didn't come easy, but I have to say, if we didn't do all the steps, I don't know if we would be here right now talking. And I don't know if Tuscan Sound would be open, truly, because they were really challenging. They still are challenging times. So.
Wow. Well, amazing.
Massimo, I'd love to get a little bit more background on the food, because you know my partner's a foodie. I'm clearly a foodie. We're just foodies. This is. It's funny because I was talking to a family member the other day, and he looked at me and he goes, "Well, clearly you either eat for stress or pleasure." And I said, "Well, actually both." So combination. And Jay and I are very simpatico like that. We've always been able to travel wherever we go. We can split meals perfectly. And Tuscan's son has always remained on the top of her radar. And I can't say Jay's picky. She's discerning. She likes a certain quality. If it's not hitting that bar, she's done with it. She's moving on. And it's a great quality. So I would love to be able to translate too, because so much of what you guys have experienced, and you, Massimo, sorry, Cyrus, not to take away from you, but really this is Massimo's expression in food. What is your background? Where did you start actually as a chef, and where have you gone, and where have you drawn from all your resources to bring what you bring forward?
I did culinary school. I went to culinary school in Florence, Italy. That's where I'm from. Always worked in restaurant, never done anything else. In 1990, sorry, always around the fine dining. Florence had like some really nice restaurants, still has, but it like really good food. And in 1990, I moved here. I had a job offer to come, and I always wanted to visit the States and have an experience. So I came here, gave myself 3 months, and 31 years later, I'm still here. But yeah, I came to work here. I was a chef at Locanda Veneta on 3rd Street. I was there for 10 years. In the 90s, was probably one of the best Italian restaurants in town.
Absolutely.
And then I opened my own place in Beverly Hills. It was called Massimo. I was there almost another decade. And then, after that, I had my son, our son Alex was born, and I went into catering because that gave me a little more flexibility to spend time at home. I personally didn't like that very much as a business model. I grew up around restaurant and working in restaurant. I like that kind of routine. I like to see people in the dining room. I like that kind of energy. And but I knew I didn't want to get back to fine dining. I knew there was something missing there for how much that was my, the way I was brought up, that was not really where my heart was set. And so I always imagine those places in Italy where you can go, you can get like a coffee at the counter, like a bar, but extended with food and this. And so I thought, how can we create a concept that people will understand and hopefully turn into a community place? As you mentioned, like Cheers, Cheers, that everyone knows each other, and had to be in the community. There were a lot of parameters that we had to hit, and we found that place, and we made a deal. We opened, and slowly, it was a very slow build. A lot of people are like, "Oh, you're gonna be fine." It was a gamble because also, as you said, that area has nothing. And sometimes you need synergy in business. And for us, we were like, but my opinion was always like, if people want to eat, there is nothing there, would be the only one. So even that would help, hopefully. And it was, but it took some work. Always.
It's so funny because Sean and I had the same experiences when we opened our business 10 years ago. And it's that same labor of love of having the parameters. We wanted to be in the community. We wanted to be in a certain location. We wanted to be in a certain proximity. And it's fascinating is that what you said earlier about the moment you close your doors and the length of loyalty, how short that is. And that saddens me that there are the majority, the loyalty timeline is so short. And it breaks my heart a lot because I know we build so many relationships. And then when for whatever reason, the loyalty doesn't stay, it's always so heartbreaking. And I know Sean always is like, don't take it personal. It's like, I know, but how can you not take it personal? Because then it's kind of like, we're here to provide not only obviously for our family, but to be a pass-through for community. And that is everything to us, to work our hardest and give our 200%, to give everything that we know, our knowledge, our experience, our love, our care, our dedication to provide an exceptional experience. And you guys being a small business owner, you guys understand that as well. But the thought that, loyalty timeline is so short, it's like, not to be Pollyanna, it just makes me sad. That's all, because I'm such a deeply loyal person.
We're small business owners. We put so much of our heart into everything, and the labor of just, we do things ourselves.
Yeah.
Hard, and it's also, of course, Massimo had a very successful restaurant. It has such a background. So putting the heart and the head together, I guess, is always a challenge of life, and applying. And so we've learned a lot along the way and had to make some decisions, but keep just reinvesting and putting our heart into things and keep connecting. where we can with the community, and we've still done fundraisers with some of the schools and churches, temples in the area, because still kids are at home, and people are still somewhat involved and trying to be connected. So we've been trying to be a part of that, and that kind of feeds us and keeps us going. And
Cyrus, you bring up so many really good, valid points in that last minute, and it really is about the connectivity and the consistency and the endurance, right? And matching the mind and the body in this case, where you're having to adapt quickly and move and continually to give and give and give. And I'd love all the viewership to know that. That is one of the messages you can take away from the Tuscan Sun experience, is not only is the food going to warm you, literally physically please you, you will enjoy it and savor it, but there is a lot of love and creativity and dedication that's put into it. That's all this thought, like there's this continuum, and you guys have really become a great, brilliant light in the neighborhood. And I also wanted to recognize that in this time of small businesses really struggling to survive, you guys are able to do somewhat and tread a lot of the water with being able to do the delivery business, and when people can safely enjoy the outdoor space. But I also wanted to let people know, can they order from you directly? That way that you guys get the real benefit of your the food orders versus having something like a Postmates, et cetera?
That's such a great question. I appreciate you asking that, because the delivery apps are great because they get our food out there, but they take a big chunk.
Really?
Yeah, they do.
So, but people can always call us for pickup. We do curbside delivery. You can even pop your trunk open, and we've got a great crew who runs out and puts the food right in your trunk. And then also on our website, TuscanSunLA.com, we have you can order directly from us, and that's kind of the best way to order from us. It's right from our website.
You can order from our website and get delivered to your house.
Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant.
And we also have them listed as one of the restaurants on the clickpico.org site as well. So they're one of the businesses that are listed there. We try to focus on the community restaurants and put them all on there so that it's a one-stop place where they can see everybody that's within our borders, so that they could try to support our local services and businesses and restaurants. And so they're on there as well. And we can actually add the holiday specials to your site there as well, on the site. We're doing all of the refresh of all the small businesses and their holiday specials and so forth, to make sure these next 2-3 weeks we really have a push to ensure that we can kind of promote out the specials that are happening throughout, and even like the new retailers that opened this year as well that are selling things, but the restaurants, and the fact that if you pick up, it will be a less of a burden on the restaurants than doing the Postmates. So Sean, that is a brilliant thought, and it's kind of like ignorance is bliss, but with knowledge comes responsibility, right? And so with the knowledge to know how can we do the little things that can impact and have that compound effect over time. And I mean, of course, the simplicity part and the ease part is one thing, but what are folks willing to do to really help? And I think that people want to really help and do a little extra step to support local, shop local, keep you guys here, because that lasagna and it's not even just the pasta stuff you guys have. So it's
lasagna just makes me smile. The word lasagna makes me smile.
His lasagna is cheesy and amazing, and then the vegetable one too. But you guys also shifted in providing very healthy options, because you can have the salmon with cauliflower instead of having it with pasta. So you can do a zero carb, a total keto style meal, and it's not what you traditionally think Italian is. You can make Italian very, very healthy, the chicken breast, and doing the roasted vegetables instead. I mean, there are many ways to still not gain the COVID-19 by eating although the sweets you can't avoid it. I mean, it's just a treat all the way around, the comfort food, and make us feel better. So
So I have a question relative to that too. So I have a sister who lives in Sardinia and has lived there for a very, very long time. And she married a Sardo, so it's multi-generational Italian. And when you eat with them, everybody's in the kitchen. Everybody's working on making food together.
Yes.
It's such a warm experience. But I do know that there are very traditional holiday meals. And I want to say one of them for this time of year is eel. Is that right, Massimo? Is eel like a traditional Italian type of Christmas meal?
Yes, not in every region of Italy. Certain regions, yeah.
Okay.
Mostly Sardinia and also like the north.
Oh, the north. Okay.
The south. Yeah.
Very different. So every place has its own kind of tradition and trait, and that's part of the Italian way. And is it true, this is just gossip, that the Italian community of Los Angeles is not particularly close? There's a lot of rivalry in the restaurant business.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Are much more connected than Italians. I actually don't know why. Because actually Italians have a long history in California. Really long history. You know, the Bank of America was actually called Bank of Italy. It was the first bank in San Francisco. It was created by,
Oh, I didn't know that.
And then Bank of America, the biggest bank in the United States. So it is interesting. And but also I have to say Italians, for how, you know, we're all Italians, we're very wary of each other, depending on the region you're from.
It's true.
I literally can recognize just by the accent someone who comes from 10 miles from my house. Just by the
Wow.
It's a very peculiar place.
It is. Well, thank you for bringing your particular vision and experience, and for those, I'm sure all our viewers know, but Florence could arguably be the cultural capital of the world. I mean, talk about a place with art and food forward and significance in terms of just historical context. Very sophisticated.
Yeah.
And it's nice to be
I
able
know
to
you probably
bring
haven't been able to travel. Have you had a chance to use this technology and Zoom to connect with them and see them?
With my relatives in Italy, yes. We've been
that's so great.
Able to do some Zoom or FaceTime or but
that's
you know,
amazing.
Very hard there too. They have their own problems, you know. We're all in the same boat here.
So Cyrus, I think I already know the answer to this question. I'm going to make an assumption that you are most passionate about Italian food. And I'm curious about Massimo. What is an ethnic food that you enjoy that's different, that's not Italian? Do you have that, or are you rightfully, woefully Italian?
You know what? I appreciate a lot of food. That's a very good question. Look, I'm a big sushi lover. I love Japanese food, period. And I would say Middle Eastern food, probably. Top of my head. And, you know, Mexican food. I had to bring back. I'm omnivorous. I can eat anything. And I'll try. So
you're like Sean and I. We're the same way. We'll eat everything, and I don't know if there can be a favorite because it's all so good.
I'm pretty convinced I'm a bear in another life, because it's just there's food. It's anything. How about you, Cyrus? I should have excluded you from that. How about for you? Other than Italian, what would be a food that you would
try food while Daniela, my wife, was gagging. So to give. Yeah, like really weird stuff. So maybe because of my profession, but what's interesting, growing up in Italy and then moving here, when I came here, it took a while for me to adjust myself to trying new flavors, because in the 80s, not everyone was well traveled. And like where I grew up in Florence, in the 80s, we had a lot of Chinese restaurants because we had a large Chinese community.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I think one Japanese restaurant, and that's it. There was no ethnic food. So there was exposure. And unless you travel, you wouldn't know. I was familiar with French food, but in general, I had no idea what a tortilla was, or I know it's kind of weird, right? And any kind of food that was like pretty much taboo for me. So it was very interesting to come here and slowly learn new flavors and now I can totally eat any.
For sure. Well, I think some of the culinary giants or people that have really made names for themselves, Nobu Matsuhisa as an example, or even Wolfgang Puck and a few others, where they've really kind of fused different ethnic foods together, where they took flavors, the jalapeno ponzu in the Japanese style. That's a brilliancy, frankly, and has made something very special like that. And I mention it just because clearly we're foodies, we love food, and it's always interesting for somebody whose craft, whose artistry is in food, to know what stimulates them. And what I've heard is a chef like yourself is like, I'm open to all of it and I will try it all. And
absolutely,
my meat, that makes sense to me for sure.
Well, are you guys staying open through these holiday times? Are you guys closed on Christmas Day or?
We closed on Christmas Day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we're planning to be open on New Year's Day.
Okay. So people are going to have brunch and so forth, and
yeah, we have a lot of orders for our holiday feast. So we'll be there Christmas Eve till about 6 o'clock for people to pick up their food for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day.
Oh, good.
So that's the word we want to get out. We want to let everybody know, flood them, make a Christmas miracle happen over on Santa Monica Boulevard, near the corner of Overland. Get some of the most comforting, delicious food you're going to be able to celebrate these holidays with. And it's perfect warm weather. It's cold weather food too, by the way, right? That's in my mind. It's like, oh,
and
so much.
Healthy. It's very, very healthy. Massimo cooks with olive oil and it's very healthily prepared. So
yes. And actually, frankly, the little known secret is my favorite is their tuna salad. It is such good tuna salad, because Italian tuna salad is not like American tuna salad. I mean, it's addicting. It's so good. It's one of my favorite things. A couple scoops of that tuna salad keeps me sustained very well.
I feel like I have to give a shout out to his avocado toast, because that is
yes. That's what made you guys. That put you guys on the map on Instagram. Is avocado toast 3 years ago, and kept showing up on everybody's feed. The avocado toast is exceptional, and the sun-dried tomatoes, and you can add the egg.
That's kind of our with Californian, Italian, and Massimo's style of cooking is coming up with something like the avocado toast. So and the lasagna, like you had mentioned, and a lot of our keto friendly specials. So.
Yeah.
Well, literally, you guys, you said that avocado, and I thought about it for a second, avocado toast, and then all of a sudden it went into like that Homer Simpson drool mode. Avocado toast. That's a great moment. I didn't hear anything else you said for the following 2 minutes. I was just like, avocado toast.
Egg. Add an egg.
Don't give that secret away. Everybody, you go up there and get it yourselves, the audience.
Add an egg. Well, guys, thank you so much for your time. Is there anything that you want to share that we haven't discussed or asked you guys so far?
I don't know. You guys brought it all out.
Yeah, thank you. I mean,
thank you very much.
And just back to you guys, thank you for supporting small businesses.
You're doing so much for the community.
So much to us. Thank you.
We really appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we love you guys. We're very sincere in that. I know that any person I know, you guys always come up in conversation. Always, when we talk about food, and we talk about food to every person we meet,
it's true.
We talk about the businesses that we want to keep open. We want you guys to stay here. We're so close to the other side of this. I feel it in my bones that we are so close, and we're going to come out of it better, because if you can keep that outdoor space, who needs the parking spots? We want you guys to keep that outdoor space. It's so fabulous.
That's Europe in America to me. That's like that, that's part of the whole thing. Be outside this incredible light and weather. So,
I love the twinkle lights every day. It's fantastic. So keep it up. You guys are doing such an amazing job. We're so grateful to have you guys in the neighborhood. You know, better things are on the other side of it. And we just know everything happens for a reason. And Sean was saying during our intro, it's darkest before the dawn. And I feel like we hit a real dark point in the county of Los Angeles and what we've experienced. And the fact that the other side is that light is coming, and we just have to stay positive. We have to just keep our thinking caps on. We got to keep our innovative thoughts going. And what you said at the beginning of the show, it's not about what's happening. It's about what's the solution? What can we do about it? You know, how can we shift? How can we pivot and stay a step ahead? Be the first in, paying attention. You know, the fact that, you know, when they had the LADOT was giving out the food pickup signs, and there were so many restaurants. It's like, hey, did you guys know about this? Like, no. It's like, pay attention. You know, here's the link. Here's the site. Get your free, you know, food pickup sign. Take up a couple of the meters. You know, make it easy on yourself. Make it easy on the consumer to want to support and making those shifts, because not everybody, I mean, a big behemoth like West Side Tavern went down. I mean, that is such a loss to the community. And so, you know.
Yeah, but if I can, you know, and to your point, Jay, all the more reason that the messaging has to get out. All the more reason, if you appreciate something, you got to put yourself behind it. You have to put yourself out and support it. You have to move out of that comfort or discomfort, I should say, move through it and support these businesses, because actually the Tuscan sons of our community are what actually add culture. They add flavor. They add quality to our lives. And it's really important to be able to take advantage of that. And warmth and love. That's true. For sure.
Warmth and love. And with that, happy holidays, fellas. Thank you so much for joining us. It was so great to hear the stories and to know what you guys have been up to, and the fact that everything's okay. And hopefully we'll hear very soon that they lift the outdoor dining, you know, that we're able to do that again very soon, and we'll see you in person.
Well, I actually, Jay, on Monday, you guys are open on Monday, right? Jay and I have our little kind of meeting where we're going to go through some of our planning for next year. And I think we're going to order from you guys, because she just got me totally onto the tuna salad. Now I'm salivating for it. So with avocado toast. Thank you, guys.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. All right. Be well.
Bye now. Awesome.
Great people. And you know, it's every week. I was like, there's so many people just like us. There's so many people care just like us. So many people have that passion just like us to make an impact in the community. And these are our people. And that's why we connect with them. And that's why we have them on the show.
Well, there is so much about that. I mean, you know, clearly, this interesting part about living in Los Angeles is that just in normal times, quote unquote, you deal with traffic and congestion. You are always figuring out how to get around the city and to go to the different places and support things. But part of the beauty when you're in the heart of the West Side, which is where we are, right? I mean, we're really in the center of the West Side of Los Angeles, is that you can pretty much pivot and look in any given direction. And literally Tuscan Sun is a 5-minute walk from your home. It's not even 5 minutes. I mean, at the speed you walk, it's 3, but you know, but it's what a wonderful alternative. And it adds, like, you feed people that food, they're going to remember the experience. I mean, how many times have you been to something like, let's say, a wedding or a party, a celebration, and one of the very first things you remember is like the food. Like, wow, that was a really great experience. I think about my own wedding celebration with Jill, where we had a friend's restaurant in Santa Monica, Giraffe, and that was Josiah and Raphael who catered it, or actually provided the meal. And we had a 7-course meal with wine pairings. I can't tell you how many people to this day will still go, that was probably the best meal I've ever had in my life.
Ooh, I got goosebumps.
It's so legitimate. But these guys, amongst others, you know, you have the kind of the Americana cuisine of something like John O'Groats, which is that breakfasty and just very casual fare, good hearty food. You have food, which is kind of almost like that higher end Whole Foods delicatessen-y type thing, where there's great salads, etc., and wonderful food. But then you have something like Tuscan Sun, which is really this wonderful emerging Italian food. You know, the idea, and I say emerging because there's the idea of the traditional, like the lasagna. My wife made lasagna last night. I can't even tell you. I kept saying, just like told her 15 times, oh my God, thank you. Like I haven't had lasagna in forever, and I love lasagna. And it's this time of year that traditionally you'd have it because it's hot, it's cold outside, so you have like a warm lasagna. I was so happy about it, and it, because it's so much comfort. But the other thing about it is it's heavy. Like a traditional lasagna can be heavy, but here's Massimo saying, hey, look, I can
zucchini, you add, you know, like layers of vegetables in there, and it totally, you know, lightens it up. And you can do it with the zucchini noodles instead of pasta noodles. And so there are wonderful ways to shift things where you can have meat and cheese and not have the grain to not make it as sugary for your system to digest, you know. So
no, and not lose any of the flavor, you know. And I think it's also nice to be able to point out to people, you know, as the week prior we had Trove on, and we, you know, what we're really trying to do is highlighting these key little shining lights of the neighborhood that are able to endure, that have the courage to endure, that are not some kind of chain, and they're not some form of, and not to belittle anybody who's got a business like that. That's not what we're trying to do. But the Atticus Pies of the world, these are places where people are, that you're really getting a reflection of who they are, their expression and their creativity. At some point, Tuscan Sun was like, look, we have access to food, but we need something different, and we want to bring it and make it more accessible. Going to Beverly Hills to eat dinner is kind of a thing. Like it's a bit of an event. Like, oh, I got to do this in a park and blah, 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 blah. Tuscan Sun is like, come on by. We became a neighborhood bistro. Like that's a place where you can almost drop in and make it work perfectly every time, and have a high level of accessible, affordable, high quality food. And
it's true.
You know, so that's super cool. And I'm so glad. I love, you know, our producer, Yvonne, and yourself are always kind of going through who to bring on and who to bring on to the show. And I love this tact, this turn of bringing people and highlighting these businesses like the Six. That was important, and understanding, you know, that these, you know, gifted and places like this are all what make living where we live so wonderful. And, you know, our business is real estate. We sell people homes. We help them buy or sell homes that are in neighborhoods and communities where we can really advocate for all the reasons you want to live here, all the reasons to live here, and why it has the value it has. And these are those reasons, these wonderful gems in our community. And I know Tuscan Sun has been on your radar from day one. Like as soon as you tried it, you're like, oh no, it's legit. And that's what I want to make sure everybody understands. Jay Wu does not pass that lightly. That is not a light statement. If you don't like it, it's moving right past you. So for her to go back and go, it's one of my favorites, make a note of that. If you haven't tried it, do it. That's why I wrote down their 5-course menu and their website, Tuscan Sun LA, I think it is .com. And I'm definitely going to explore that and probably shock my wife and just show up with a dinner one night. Like, oh, it's on me.
Oh, that would be a nice little treat, even though she does, you know, you're lucky because you have a gourmet chef in your own house and a baker. So you have access to that every single day.
Oh,
but it's nice to give her a break, I'm sure.
I think it was interesting because of the things that, you know, the protocols we were going through. That changed for us for a couple of 2 to 3 weeks, actually. And we took it a little bit more on the extreme side. We were like, let's just keep defaulting to being safe and healthy and not impacting others. And so many people just stopped by, including I got an amazing birthday gift from you and a meal that was delivered that just kept giving and giving and giving. Now I'm thinking about it. So head rolls. But you know, it's so easy. Like if you ever want to get me off track, you just start talking about certain food and I'll just drift away and imagine it. But there was that. But I will tell you that my youngest son, Charlie, commented a couple of times. He's like, I kind of miss mom's cooking. And I know when I think of other people that I know and other families, et cetera, I'm like, you know, I'm at a highly competitive advantage in the food arena. That's for sure, because my wife is a fabulous chef.
Her chocolate chip cookies, I mean, bar none. I don't know what she does to them, put crack in them, but they really are exceptional. I mean, they are off the charts. And I am going to miss the fact that we don't have our Heyler holiday gathering this year, where she did, bring her little treats, and she made sure that, she catered with normally like a gorgeous salmon and a steak, a meat dish, and we did that the last few years with our team, and I'm really going to miss celebrating and bringing in the holidays in person with all of us together. So.
Totally. You know what, Jay, we're going to clearly, as a society and as a civilization, we're going to have to endure the balance of this pandemic. To your point early on when we began the show today, we were talking about vaccines, et cetera. And I'm like, look, if you're vulnerable, you do yourself a favor and trust the science. This is not rolling out hodgepodge. This is nothing light. This is not a Band-Aid on the problem. This is real science, and it's important because, to your point, let's get back to normal as quickly as we can and heading this on. And if everybody does their parts, then theoretically we can get through it, and we should not be here 9 months later. I mean, theoretically, at least.
Well, you have immunity for a few months anyway, according to so you got it, and you got immunity for a little bit. So
I spent some time with actually on a phone call with going through the materials, like to understand what's real and not real. And to your point, I can be I'm not as concerned for me. I'm just concerned for others. And even though I'm not really at risk of having it come back and getting me bad again, most likely, I'm still wearing a mask wherever I go outside because I'm like, just decency for others and just their sense of comfort. So that is what that is for sure. Well, do you mind if we switch subjects for a minute or two? There's a couple of interesting things to share.
Yes.
One thing is for any of those kind of nerdy science people like ourselves, and in particular me, who obsess about things in celestial plane, you do have this really cool convergence of both Saturn and Jupiter coming off in the western sky, just about where the sun sets, about a half hour after. You can start to see it emerge on the 21st. And right now, if you were to look at them, and you can see Saturn as a very faint dot behind Jupiter, and it's probably like in the sky spectrum, it looks like it's a millimeter away. But on the 21st, they're going to blend actually in complete alignment. And interestingly enough, Pluto is going to be behind them at some point. And the only thing that's interesting about it is the last time it happened was 850 years ago.
Wow.
And it makes for a really brilliant planet. So I would tell people, if you haven't gone down to the beach to watch the sunset safely, to the extreme low tides, these are some of the record low tides that we've ever had in Southern California. I mean, you know where the Santa Monica Pier rides are in that second section? The tide is out beyond that. That first time I've witnessed that in forever. So the tide is way out there, and it's super cool because when it's so far out there, the sand just reflects the skies and the colors, and then you get this little convergence of the star and the planets. It's pretty cool to watch. And on the 21st is when it's going to be most illuminating. So just for any of those science nerdy, people that want to kind of nerd out with me, you'll find me there on the 31st. We were there the other day. We took a little walk. It was fantastic. So don't forget why you live here. That's my one advertisement, even though Kate Kennedy will probably try to kick you away because she likes to keep that beach to herself. I also wanted to mention that if you haven't noticed the development over at Westwood One, which is the Macy's project,
wow,
the
beautiful.
exteriors, it's gorgeous. It is gorgeous. That is a legitimate building. So when you think about, people talk about, this, that, and California, and people are leaving, and this and that and the other thing. Well, yeah, there's some people that are making changes. That's life. That happens constantly. But there's an infusion of real wonderful development and growth here and continuing change. And that's an anchor building. What a gorgeous building. I cannot wait till their barriers come down and we all get to see that in its glory, because it is looking beautiful.
I know. Well, the only good thing about this downtime is they've had to fight less traffic to get the construction work done that they've had to. They've maneuvered around less disruption and less people to kind of contend with while they're building. So the last year has been obviously a very good time to build as they have continually done over at the Hudson property site, as well as the Westwood One site. And it's all coming together. The only sad, the only sad part of this is the fact that the Landmark Theater being closed, and we have a dead soldier with the West Side Tavern being gone, because you know, we're gonna have to find a replacement for that. But it's there's good things for sure that's been happening in underneath the surface of all of this pandemic noise that's been going on. I'm excited that our offices are unboarded now again and light and bright. I know our neighbor Euphoric has been diligent in keeping the trash and the succulents alive in the front of our shop. She's so lovely. Every time she's out there picking, you know, trash out of our succulents as well as hers, and watering it and loving on it and making sure that they're growing. So Anna, our neighbor there, has really, really been good to us, and making sure that she keeps an eye on our shop while we have been boarded up. So grateful to have great people that are neighbors, that care about each other, take care of each other, you know.
That's for sure.
That's a true community, you know. So
well, you know, it's a testimony to our efforts and our diligence to make things happen and to support each other and our visibility. And you know, a lot of people had asked, you know, why did you guys do that? And I go, well, you just didn't know where things were going. We had that bad experience in May, and things went really haywire, and the world was a little crazy. And it's nice to see, and it feels like, you know, COVID may have come on with a real like a giant wave again, but some of the other things seem to have settled down, and it makes us feel safer and more secure. And now it's just like, okay, well, let's turn towards normalcy. Let's move in that direction of making things right again and bright for everybody. So it does feel good, and it's nice to be in the space. And you know, we're arranging that COVID protocol, like the super clean, like the ridiculous clean in there, which will be nice.
Yeah, no, it'll be bright and fresh. So come January and we get to the next couple of weeks, which we actually have some things in escrow, and you know, have some deadlines right on Christmas Eve. Actually, is where some of the contingencies land to get through the other side. Still showing properties on Saturday. Have a couple to show, not a ton, but a couple, and showing our listings on Sunday. So it's still, you know, people are out there and activities happening. And the fact of the matter is, I mean, seriously, I'm a week away from getting approved for 2.875 30-year fixed mortgage. I mean, it's unbelievable. And it's amazing. That was our prior business, and there's been so many people reaching out, and we never did monetize, you know, our relationships in that side of the business, because I'm like, here, use this banker, because in today's day and age, it's all about what's the lowest you can get, not about really the relationships anymore.
Yeah,
so it's about just trying to find the resources for the people we did build long-term relationships with, and help them try to save as much money as they can, because that's our daily effort, is constantly vetting great resources to be the resource hub, to be the center of information, to never turn anybody away, and give people the advice and you know, the gems that they're constantly looking for from us, you know, to share with them. So that's our daily task, right? Just constantly vet great people, you know,
well,
help
you know,
great people.
One of those things that came in on early, and I remember one of the mantras that you had shared, or, you know, that a real referral is an introduction of someone you care about to somebody you trust. And we've spent a long time developing these bonds of trust and vetting through, and feel like now, in fact, somebody asked me the other day to get a deed on a property they had bought from the Heyler Company in 1986 when we didn't own it. But we know where to get those things. These are, and just constantly keep us in that top of mind awareness, because it's part of what our pleasure is to do, and to help you, and keep connected with you. So I'm grateful for the business we built and the reputation that we have. And I look forward to a lot more bright future, especially in this community, and as Heyler Realty going forward in whatever iterations we do. But we can tell you this part, we feel very privileged to be a part of where we live and work. And I'm grateful for my partnership with you, all your tremendous efforts. I'm excited you're headed to an inspection here shortly. And you know, we'll get to the other side of this thing in a very short order. It'll be great.
Yes. Well, we're going to go dark the next couple of Fridays because it lands on Christmas and New Year's. But we'll be back at it first week of January. We're excited for the viewership and the fact that we have built such an audience over these last few months during this pandemic so that we can stay engaged and connected. So another great thing that's come out of this 2020 year that we would have maybe not even produced at all. So this has been a wonderful
this is a nice
addition.
Absolutely. It's a treasure.
All right, my brother from another mother.
Thank
Love
you.
you.
Love you, girl. Love you too.
All right, see you later.